Alright, so anyways, I just came up with a really cool one. Okay, so, um, yeah, so anyways, so I was thinking this morning, it's like 10 minutes ago, and I just wrote it down, right? It's like, is my whole existence, pretty much talking about the core of the world here, we could say, like, is our core existence, or is my core existence, okay? So, is my existence driven by not being judged by people? Is my existence driven by being accepted by people? And is my existence driven by being admired by people or impressing people? And is my existence driven by being loved by people, right? So if your existence is driven by not being judged by people, that's pretty, or being accepted by people, being admired by people, being loved by people, but especially if your entire existence is driven by not being judged by people, like, that's really sad, and it's really meaningless, and it's really wasteful. Like, if you think about your life and it's just driven by those 4 or 5 things I just mentioned, it's very wasteful, and it's very meaningless. Like, you'll be on your deathbed and you'll be like, I lived my entire life just to be admired and accepted by people, or I lived my entire life just so I wouldn't feel judged by people, or to fit in. So if you take all those things away, what do you do? Like, what do you do with your time? If you no longer care about being admired by people, if you no longer care about impressing people, if you no longer care about not being judged by people, if you no longer care about being loved by people, because you could find happiness on your own in solitude. And that's the key, right? Like, if you could find happiness on your own in solitude by yourself, there's really nothing in you anymore that cares about being judged by people. You just see people and you're just like, it's okay. They judged me, it's all right. You don't feel the need to impress anyone or be admired by people anymore, or be accepted or liked by people anymore, because you can find that happiness on your own in solitude by yourself. And if you could be happy by yourself on your own in solitude, you don't really need anything anymore. You don't need to be admired. You don't need to be anyone's favorite person. You don't need to be the best. You don't need to impress people. There's really no reason to be anything. There's no reason to be anything. There's no reason to be admired by people. There's no reason to impress people. Because you found happiness on your own in solitude by yourself. It's important to mention, to find happiness on your own in solitude in silence is extremely important. I mentioned that in Fighting Off Depression 32. That way you can really be with yourself and get to know yourself and understand yourself. And then you'd be like, okay, so what is my purpose? I say this a bunch of times. I always say, my only purpose is to be the present moment, and all energy will flow out of that. All love and kindness will flow out of that, me being the present moment. All creativity will flow out of me being the present moment. And all happiness within will exist and flow out of being the present moment. Eckhart Tolle stole that line from me. I said that And I wrote that in my book. And then a couple of months later, I was listening to one of his speeches, and he said that in one of his speeches, that, you know, when you're the present moment, all energy flows out of the present moment. And I was like, dude, like, you totally stole that from me. What? I don't know, it might have been one of those catch things where I heard him say it first, like a year ago, and then I wrote it, and then I heard him say it again. And I was like, oh man, who knows? We'll never know. Or maybe we both heard it from the same source. I don't know. The one thing I did say this morning, which was really cool, I was cooking, and I thought about Audrey Hepburn and Katharine Hepburn, and how they were extremely loving people. They were very kind people. And they went all over the place, and they gave their time to helping people. And they pretty much went down after they died as these amazing people. And I thought to myself, like, why did they go down as these amazing people? Everybody loves them. And then I realized it's because they were just so full of loving kindness. And they weren't greedy, they weren't about themselves. And then I thought about LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and all these other athletes that want like $320 million, you know, for playing baseball or basketball for 10 years, and how they're just obsessed with themselves and getting more and more and more, and they don't really help people. They're not really loving towards people. You know, they're full of drama and talking bad about other people, or thinking that they're like the best and all this stuff. And you know what? After they're done with their careers, or after they die, nobody's going to really care about them or remember them, or even if they do remember them, they're going to see them in a negative light because they weren't full of love and kindness and helping others. They were about themselves and greed and not being satisfied and wanting more. And I think the reason why we we admire and we love people like Audrey Hepburn and Katharine Hepburn after they die is because we, deep down, I think we have a base realization or an understanding or a feeling within us that, you know, we are love and life is about love. And our whole existence should be about loving other people and loving everything, loving creation, loving nature, loving animals, loving people, you know, giving. And I think that's the reason why we'll see Audrey Hepburn and Katharine Hepburn as these amazing people after they die. And the people that weren't so loving and were full of greed and about, you know, themselves, we don't really remember them as these amazing people. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a great day. Peace. Later.